What if I told you that the most shocking evidence about unidentified flying objects didn't come from conspiracy theorists or crazy people on the internet? It came from trained military pilots, advanced radar systems, and official government documents that were hidden from you for decades. Stay right here, because what you're about to hear will make you question everything you thought you knew. And if you're new here, pay attention, because this channel is one of the very few places where we actually tell you what they don't want you to know. Let's start with something that should have been on every front page of every newspaper on the planet. November 2004. The USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group is operating off the coast of California in the Pacific Ocean. These are not amateurs. These are elite Navy fighter pilots, the most trained, most disciplined aviators the United States military has ever produced. And what they encountered that day shook them to their core. Commander David Fravor, a veteran pilot with over 18 years of experience, was dispatched to investigate an unknown object that radar operators had been tracking for weeks, not hours, weeks. The object had been appearing and disappearing on sensors, dropping from altitudes of 80,000 feet to near sea level in seconds. Think about that. 80,000 feet to sea level in seconds. No aircraft on Earth, no aircraft we know about, can do that. When Fravor arrived at the location, he saw it, a white object shaped like a giant Tic Tac. No wings, no tail, no visible propulsion system, no exhaust, nothing. Just a smooth, white, pill-shaped craft hovering over the ocean, disturbing the water below it as if something massive was just beneath the surface. And then, the moment Fravor began descending toward it, the object reacted. It accelerated instantly, not gradually, instantly, and it was gone. In less than a second, it covered a distance that would take a fighter jet several minutes to travel. Fravor later said in a congressional hearing, and I want you to remember that a congressional hearing, not a podcast, not a YouTube video. He said it was unlike anything he had ever seen in his entire career. Now here's where it gets dark. Here's what the government doesn't want to talk about. After the encounter, Fravor and his team returned to the Nimitz, and the cockpit recordings, the gun camera footage from his own aircraft, were gone, taken, by men in plain clothes who boarded the ship and confiscated the data before anyone could make copies. Who were those men? We still don't know. Why did they take the footage? We still don't know. What authority did they have to remove classified military data from a naval vessel? We still don't know. And if you think that's an accident, think again. The only reason we know about this case at all is because a separate recording survived. The FLIR footage, released officially by the Pentagon in 2020, shows the object moving in ways that defy every law of physics we currently understand. And the Pentagon releasing it is not the victory you might think it is. Because ask yourself this: if they released this one, what are they still hiding? What footage was so undeniable, so impossible to explain, that they decided it was safer to bury it forever rather than risk someone finding it? Don't go anywhere, because what comes next is even more unsettling. We're moving to 2015. Two separate encounters, both recorded by Navy pilots using advanced infrared targeting systems, both released by the government, both officially unexplained, and both deeply, deeply strange. The first is known as the Gimbal video, filmed by pilots from the USS Theodore Roosevelt operating off the east coast of the United States. The footage shows an object rotating, actually rotating, while in flight. Now you might think, okay, objects spin, that's not crazy. But here's what is crazy. The object is not rotating because of aerodynamic forces. It's not spinning because of wind resistance or thrust vectoring. It appears to be rotating freely, independently, almost as if it's aware it's being tracked. The pilots on the radio can be heard saying, and these are their actual words, "Look at that thing, dude. It's rotating." One pilot asks what they're looking at. Nobody has an answer. And the object continues flying, undisturbed, unbothered, completely unconcerned by the fact that a multi-million-dollar weapon system is locked onto it. The government's official position? Unexplained. That's it. After years of analysis by some of the most advanced intelligence agencies on the planet, the best they can give us is unexplained. Do you understand how significant that is? These are the people who can track a cell phone signal from space. These are the people who can identify a specific individual in a crowd using satellite imagery, and they look at this video and say, "We don't know what that is." The second 2015 video is called GoFast, and the name tells you everything. Filmed by the same squadron, it shows an object skimming across the ocean at extraordinary speed. Now, analysts have debated the exact speed of the object. Some suggest optical illusions from the camera system may be creating the impression of higher velocity. But here's what nobody debates. The object is real. The object was tracked by multiple sensors simultaneously, and the object has never been identified. Not then, not now. Follow this channel, right now, because we're just getting started, and what I'm about to tell you about what happened inside the United States Congress will make your blood run cold. For most of history, anyone who stood up in public and said they had seen a UFO was laughed at, mocked, career destroyed. The government made sure of that. They had a playbook: dismiss, ridicule, discredit, and it worked for decades. But something changed, something cracked, and the crack became a flood. In 2023, a man named David Grush sat in front of the United States House Oversight Committee and said, under oath with full legal consequences for lying, that the United States government is in possession of non-human craft, not human-made craft, not foreign adversary technology, non-human craft. He said the government has a secret program running for decades, involving the retrieval and reverse engineering of materials that did not originate on this planet. He said people had been threatened. He said people had been killed. He said the cover-up goes higher than anyone publicly knows. Now you can believe him or not believe him. But here's what you cannot dismiss. He is a decorated intelligence officer. He passed multiple security clearances. He filed official whistleblower complaints through legal government channels. He did not go to a tabloid. He did not post on social media. He went to Congress, under oath, and said it out loud. And what did the government do? The same thing they always do. They delayed, they obstructed, they classified. Senators and representatives requested access to the supposed crash retrieval programs and were denied. Let me say that again. Elected officials, the people theoretically in charge of oversight of the military and intelligence community, asked to see these programs and were told no. The people you voted for, who are supposed to represent you, who are supposed to have oversight of the most powerful military in human history, denied access. By whom? By people whose names we don't know, in programs that don't officially exist, with budgets that aren't disclosed to Congress. If that doesn't bother you, I don't know what will. Stay with me, because we need to go back, way back, to the case that started everything. July 1947, Roswell, New Mexico. A rancher named Mac Brazel discovers strange debris scattered across his property. Metallic fragments, material unlike anything he had ever seen, lightweight but impossibly strong. He reports it to local authorities. The military arrives, and on July 8, 1947, the United States Army Air Force issues an official press release, their own press release, stating that they have recovered a, quote, flying disc. A flying disc. Those were their words. Not a weather balloon. Not a crashed plane, a flying disc. The headline ran in newspapers across the country, and then, within hours, the story changed. Suddenly, it was a weather balloon. Suddenly, the officers who had issued the press release were giving different interviews. Suddenly, the debris was gone. The witnesses were pressured into silence, and the most significant event in human history was being erased in real time. Over the following decades, the official story changed again. First, it was a weather balloon. Then it was a classified high-altitude balloon project called Mogul. Then, in 1997, the Air Force released a report suggesting that what witnesses described as alien bodies were actually crash test dummies used in parachute experiments. Crash test dummies. From experiments that didn't begin until years after the incident, they asked the public to believe that witnesses in 1947 were misremembering crash test dummies from programs that didn't exist yet, and somehow they expected that to be the end of the conversation. But here's what you need to understand about Roswell. It's not just about whether a spacecraft crashed in the desert, it's about what the response tells us. Governments don't launch massive cover-up operations over weather balloons. They don't threaten civilians, confiscate evidence, change their story multiple times over 50 years, and classify documents for decades over a weather balloon. The cover-up itself is the evidence. The desperation to make you stop asking questions is the proof that the questions matter. And there are witnesses, dozens of them. Military personnel, nurses, civilians, people who came forward before they died and described what they saw. Bodies, small, not human, with large heads and enormous eyes. A craft unlike any aircraft they had ever seen. And men who arrived and told them, in no uncertain terms, that if they ever spoke about what they saw, their families would suffer the consequences. These are not crazy people. These are veterans. These are medical professionals. These are people who spent their entire lives keeping quiet and chose in their final years to tell the truth, because they believed the public deserved to know. And we believe that too, which is why this channel exists. Follow us right now. Hit that follow button, turn on notifications, because we cover these stories. The ones buried, the ones classified, the ones that powerful people spend enormous amounts of money to keep away from you every single week. Now let me bring this home, because I want to leave you with something to think about. Across 5 cases, the Tic Tac, the Gimbal, GoFast, the congressional hearings and Roswell, a pattern emerges. And the pattern is not subtle. The pattern is this. Every single time credible evidence surfaces, it disappears, gets reclassified, gets explained away, or gets buried under ridicule and bureaucratic obstruction. Every single time. The pilots are discredited, the witnesses are threatened, the documents are classified. The programs are hidden, and the public is told to move on. But here's the thing about truth. It doesn't stay buried forever. It finds cracks, it finds whistleblowers, it finds journalists and researchers and pilots who refuse to stay quiet. It finds channels like this one, where we refuse to let the conversation end just because someone powerful wants it to. The question is not whether unidentified phenomena exist. They do. The government has admitted it. The question is not whether the military has encountered technology that surpasses anything in our publicly known arsenal. They have. Pilots have testified to it under oath. The question, the only question that remains, is what are they actually hiding? And why are they so desperate to make sure you never find out? Are you ready for the answers? Because we're going to keep digging. We're going to keep covering every declassified document, every whistleblower testimony, every leaked footage, every congressional hearing that the mainstream media buries on page 12 or doesn't cover at all. This is just the beginning. The cases we covered today are the ones they let slip through. Imagine what's still locked away. Imagine what witnesses are still alive who haven't spoken. Imagine what footage exists on servers you will never have access to, in facilities you will never be allowed to visit, reviewed by analysts who signed documents that mean they can never tell you what they saw. We're going to find it, and we're going to tell you. Follow this channel right now. Share this video with someone who thinks this is all made up, because after what you just heard, you know it isn't. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Because the next episode goes even deeper. We're going to talk about the programs inside programs, the black budgets, the names of the people involved, and the technology that some insiders believe has already been reverse engineered and is being used right now, without your knowledge, without your consent, and without any democratic oversight whatsoever. The truth is out there, and unlike some, we're actually going to give it to you. See you in the next one.